ChatGPT in your RPA solutions, APIs, human in the loop, and much more. Welcome to the two experts from C2. Hello, Alejandro. Hello, Tobias.
Hello,
Hello.
Anders.
And also, welcome to the viewers. This session is for you, so all questions, please post them in the chat, and I'll make sure Tobias and Alejandro will answer all of you. And this session is a lot about APIs and human in the loop. The first question that I always get when I teach ChatGPT and RPA is that how can we combine these two? How can we upgrade our RPA solutions with ChatGPT? And I know you prepared, or not, you didn't prepare, but I know you know a lot about those things, Alejandro and Tobias. Is that right?
Yes, definitely, very much so. And
And welcome.
it's a very interesting topic, Anders. Thank you.
Yeah. And so how can we upgrade our RPA solutions with ChatGPT? It's a quite new technique, and it may be similar to some of the other techniques that we use, but how can we make best advantage of it?
So, as you say, ChatGPT is a very interesting topic these days. And now with the ChatGPT v4 and v4 Turbo, we're definitely seeing more and more on the document processing side, where the confidence score you get out of analyzing both documents, PDF, invoices, and such is of very high quality and can be almost compared to many of the IDPs we have out there. There are also more on the discovery side, which is probably the most common topic. We try to see everything from a post-production side. And Alejandro, I think you have some very good inputs there as well.
Exactly. Yeah. As we have seen in the recent weeks, there are a lot of RPA providers that are mainly focused on use cases around discovery, assessment, delivery. But what's about post-production stages? What's about support team members? What's about handovers into production? So these aspects, mainly around operations, are what we are trying to cover. And there are very interesting use cases around it.
Nice. And we want to say welcome to Jesper from Denmark. Welcome, Jesper, and nice to have you here. I know you have some questions prepared. Jesper, let me know on LinkedIn. So nice to see you. And so when we talk about ChatGPT, it's my grandmom even know ChatGPT, but she doesn't know RPA orchestration. And what I like with the approach from the two of you, Alejandro and Tobias, is that C2 is tool agnostic. I mean, whether we use UiPath, Power Automate, the Blue Prism, we can integrate it into the platform, and that makes maybe a bit more honest answers from you today. So thank you for that. And maybe you can shortly introduce C2, Tobias.
Definitely. So, as many of you may know, C2, we had another webinar with the Anders here just 2 weeks ago with Homan, Dan, and Robin. C2, we are a automation platform that mainly look at the orchestration and operation aspect of RPA. We now expand more and more into other types of automations, and especially Power Automate Desktop, and Cloud, trying to utilize all the automation technologies out there, but remaining having a single pane of glass when it comes to monitoring and control.
Great. And Frank also says hello in the chat, and we have Balram Singh, a nice viewer who had a lot of great questions during the last session. So Balram, if you have more today, we will be very appreciative. And so let's start here. Let's say that I'm a company that wants to get started with filling in ChatGPT into my solutions. Where should I start?
So if you want to utilize ChatGPT, of course, it's first to find a good use case that generates value. I know many companies really want to utilize AI technologies, ML technologies, but it's finding a tool or an approach that's both low key and lets you get started. I would say interacting, we're going to cover that a bit later when it comes to our human in loop capabilities. But for now, I would say the ChatGPT is more of a assistant, a complementary technology. So trying to find one business process that let you connect this technology, ChatGPT, together with human interaction is definitely the best use case. That could be processes such as interacting with the customers, customer service processes, maybe analyzing a data set, combining a response to a customer, but waiting for that final approve from a human just before it goes out, or you move it to tier 2, tier 3 support line.
Exactly.
And will
It
you
is
say
great.
that? Oh, sorry, Alejandro, go ahead.
Sorry. Sorry, Anders. It is great to bring context to the topic, and it's able to include a lot of information that can be useful later on for building a robust business case.
And will you say that that's ChatGPT's strength, that it let us communicate with people? So how does it differ from previous technologies, or is it the same?
Alejandro?
So,
Or
yeah. Do you want to go for it, Tobias? Sorry.
yeah, I can definitely do that. So as you say, like communicating to humans, what I would say the big difference we see, or any external third party would see, for example, your grandma, Anders, would
Yeah.
be the additional data you can combine with it. So it's not only the chatbot approach where you provide a question, and by that you will get an answer in response, but you can actually provide data sets, PDFs, attachments, and everything, and get ChatGPT or similar engines to analyze that and give context to the message they're providing back to the users.
Great. But I have one question. That is usually when I interact with ChatGPT, it gives me answers that is some of them are really good and some of them are not so good, and most of them I need to work on in a conversation. And how can I even use that in a solution if it's that in quality it differs a lot, like from bad to good?
So that's a very interesting topic, and I think for those who saw the OpenAI or a reveal of the new OpenAI version, there are changes out there right now where you can get JSON response and so on. But building context is everything when it comes to ChatGPT. So if you just use the open web interface, building context and say, hi, and I want you to analyze a document that I'm going to attach. I want you to extract this set of types of data, and I want it returned in this format. So you can actually set expectations to how you want ChatGPT to reply back to you as a user. That can be in JSON format, XML, or human text.
And when you say ChatGPT, it's not the ChatGPT UI that I use in a browser. It's connecting through it to an API. Is that right?
Both, actually. So you can also, if you use the browser chat.openai.com, you can also do the very same thing within the conversation, setting those expectations, telling the ChatGPT how this is now what I'm going to do, and I expect this type of response, and make sure that you actually get it the data back in the format you supply. Most of that is also available through codable interfaces, so it's possible in both. Yes.
Great. And do you have something to add, Alejandro?
Yeah, one of the best things of C2 is that we are able to store information in a structured way from different aspects within the production environment. So once the workflows are scheduled and configured for a long time, we are able to take decisions and to get powerful insights that can be complemented with ChatGPT to help support teams and service managers.
And great. And maybe we should mention that C2 lets you combine a lot of things. We have mentioned some of it here. And if you are interested in more C2, we had a session last week where you can get all the basics, and you can even see a demo of C2 because it was quite interesting. And I learned a lot from that session. And don't skip this live session, of course. So we have ChatGPT integrated, and we have that in our RPA solution. You said we should start by finding, of course, a business case that made sense, and then we can integrate it in, for example, a customer service or something like that. Does it need maintenance, and do we need to control it? That might be where you mentioned human in the loop comes in, or what about that?
Yes. So we, I think every company that does RPA has challenges with what we call human in the loop. And in the C2 platform, we call robot interaction. It's a way of interacting, including humans in the loop of your automation processes. we have built a set of RPA objects that let you combine and generate forms on the fly to be sent for approval by humans or including humans. This can now, just a few releases ago, we also added support for attachments, images, PDFs, and so on. So if you have let's say a business process where you process invoices, you can get those invoices sent up to ChatGPT for trying to analyze the context or content of these invoices. But before you really kick them off in your accounting system, just generate a human in the form request to the C2 platform. Just get a confirmation on does the details, in fact, are they correct, all of them, and we can play that. If so, you can correct. You can just send it back to your RPA platform or correct them if needed.
So we still need a human to control these processes, in your opinion.
For now, I would say, as I said in the very beginning, for now,
Yeah.
I think ChatGPT and most of the AI solutions out there are more on a complementary stage, and Assistant is very, very interesting to see how they will evolve moving forward. And also from my tests now with the newest version of ChatGPT, it seems to be a lot more robust when it comes to document analyzing documents and PDFs and so on. So really interesting to see the confidence score we will be able to achieve moving forward. There are many that utilizes IDP platforms. I know it's said to have about 95% confidence score on those models that you specifically design and train over a 1 to 2 months period. Now you can achieve quite a high confidence score already by just sending it to ChatGPT without any modeling or training. And so I think that's definitely an area we will see ChatGPT and other similar engines being more and more used.
And
Yeah,
that
we
might
already have a lot of questions and comments in the chat. I will bring some of them to you because Jesper says, actually, just you just answered that. Do you validate the responses from ChatGPT in some way to make sure it's usable? That's what we do with Human in the Loop. Can we validate it through other kinds of? You said the confidence score. You could also use that. Could you set up rules like if it's below something, then go to this bin, or otherwise go to an approved bin? Is that also something you do?
Not something we do, but it's definitely possible, and I think that will be more and more common as we move forward to, and the information we get in response is more and more reliable. For now, I think, as both Jasper and also Dave mentioned, that it's more of a good assistant that helps you provide the content, and you just make your final approve on it before you send it off.
Great, and Jesper also says that you already answered his question, so thank you, Jesper, and thank you, of course, Tobias. Then Nicholas says he just came up with a use case that he wants to identify names, last names, and swear words in the text using RPA and AI. Is that possible? And do you have any advice on how to approach this problem? This is a very practical problem, but I will say this is doable. You can definitely use ChatGPT to it, or what do you say here, Tobias?
Oh, definitely. So this is one of the perfect cases for ChatGPT or similar engines. And the most important thing as you want to start with this, build a context. Just start the conversation. Start the conversation with ChatGPT, telling, now I'm going to provide you a TXT file or a CSV of names, first name, last names, swear words. I want you to identify this and provide me a response in this format. I think that's very important to build the context. Context is everything for these engines.
Great, thank you, Tobias, and thank you, Nicola. And Dave is also having some great comments. He also says that GPT is too unreliable to use without human confirmation. In my opinion, it's better for helping users rather than replacing their effort entirely. Is that also what you see, Alejandro?
Yeah, of course. One of the use cases that we have seen is that there are a lot of users that are submitting, for example, PDFs to a digital worker, and these PDFs are not correctly submitted. So we can use this human in the loop for error handling purposes as well. So we can come back to the business user saying, okay, is this correct? And then let them fix it, and start again the automation.
Great. So when we talked a lot about APIs and Chat GPT here. So why use RPA at all? Because RPA is much more for UI automation. So where do we combine these, and why is RPA important here?
Oh, that's a long one. So to actually take a few steps back, RPA is a technology, I would say, really where you get the most value, trying to reproduce or recreate the process earlier executed by a human. That's very often where you have surface automation involved. When it comes to just utilizing web APIs and such, Power Automate Cloud is a perfect alternative to those. One of the first things we actually did when we released the C2 platform back in 2019, or the official release, was creating interfaces and a connector to Power Automate Cloud. That really made it possible for our customers to move what we call these loader processes, the processes where you use such as Outlook, just trying to fill your queues and identify how much work it is, move that up to Power Automate. Freeing up a lot of free space, as it's quite common to have these processes kicking off on the intervals every 5, 10, 15 minutes. So getting rid of those was one of the first things we did.
Great. Thank you, Tobias. And I completely forgot to introduce the two of you because the topic was so interesting. So sorry for that. Alejandro, maybe you can spend 10 seconds introducing yourself in a more detailed manner.
Thank you, Anders. Hello, everyone. My name is Alejandro Felipe. I am an ecosystem analyst at C2 with a background in RPA development. So I belong to product management team, and I'm mainly focused on product development, market analysis, and new integrations.
Great, thank you. And back to you, Tobias.
Yes, Tobias Gundhaus, CTO and co-founder of C2. I've been doing RPA for 9 years now. Automation's even longer. Call myself a jack of all trades, master of none, doing a bit of everything. Really, really fun to be hands-on, but understanding customers and how I can help is everything.
Great, thank you. It's just the topic was so interesting, and then we kept on, so I forgot to introduce you. But here they are, these two. And if you like what you hear today, please give the video a thumbs up. Then we can make this video go out to more. And please continue the great questions and comments in the chat. And actually, Nayan says, how can we utilize ChatGPT in RPA Blue Prism? And it will probably be the same as every other RPA tool, almost every other RPA tool. Don't you agree here, Alejandro?
Yeah, of course. In the end, we can leverage ChatGPT capabilities for getting all the context required in this case, Blue Prism. But if you can integrate ChatGPT within Blue Prism, you need to use OpenAI APIs and create the corresponding VBOs or the corresponding Web API objects to satisfy your needs.
Cool. So, and maybe on to the next question. I know there'll be a lot of ChatGPT here, but we will also talk about APIs. But so why use C2? I mean, why shouldn't I just go with the tools? What's the benefits of using the C2 platform here?
When it comes to this topic specifically?
To utilize, sorry, to utilize ChatGPT. So what's the benefit of me going to the C2 platform here?
So I think looking at Nayan's question, that's actually a very, very good example to that. As what we have seen so far is that the Chat GPT and similar technologies aren't mature enough just yet to utilize them within your platform. You could, as Alejandro mentioned, create a VBO, which is quite common for the non-C2 platform customers. But utilizing our human in the loop capability that allows a human interface between the interaction with ChatGPT and the automation technology, I think is one of the cores, especially at the stage we're in at the moment.
Great, thank you. And we also, and actually Nayan says thank you. So great answers to the both of you. And maybe we can take a step back from ChatGPT and talk about APIs in general. So are APIs better than using UI automation in RPA, and why?
Yeah,
Alejandro, you can start.
Yeah, of course. So APIs are much more robust solutions than web scraping or user interface solutions. So in this case, we have HTTP methods to control exactly what we want to send. We have different type of APIs, SOAP or REST, changing the different type of formats, using JSON, for example, which are light ways of sending information through the network, saving capacity. So in conclusion, APIs are the most robust solutions, that we can use in automations, and it will reduce as well the amount of errors that we can encounter.
Great, thank you. So, and Balram Singh says that as per earlier discussion, I thought C2 capable of acting as a center of excellence for all the RPA tools. Now I understand it's capable of handling the document processing and other AI-based solution. Is that correctly understood?
So we have, and that probably takes us a few steps back, as you said, Anders.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a very good question. So the C2 platform sits on top of the existing RPA technologies, and we have a very rich API which let other providers easily integrate with our platform. For some other third parties, we also have what we call two-way connectors that allows us to share or send information to them. So it's primarily built around the monitoring and the more operational part, as you said, acting as COE for all the RPA tools. But as we have a very, very rich API, as mentioned, that allows us to be the bridge between RPA and all these other technologies we have out there.
Great, thank you. And I hope that answers it, Balram Singh's. And actually, Dave has another comment. He says that one thing I considered using GPT for it is to dynamically generate error message explanations. You get a crazy error, and before sending it out as a notification, have GPT attempt to reword it. That was actually a good one, Dave. I like that one. And Dave, also before you can comment on that, Tobias and Orlando, Dave has a YouTube channel. I will definitely recommend all you to check that out, and maybe you can comment on this.
Yes. So thank you, Dave. I actually saw the comment from the previous webinar as well. Very good channel, Dave. Thank you. So this is actually one of the areas we have experimented a lot with ChatGPT. So the C2 platform has something we call events and performance profiles, which identify potential outages of your automation environment. Trying to send or make a data set of that timeline. What happened? We had a set of runtime resources or machines that went offline for a certain period. Can we take that timeline and create a summary we can share with the users of what happened? So when you get to your work desk Monday morning and you see all of hopefully the C2 platform recovered everything, but you see that, oh, we have a set of process terminations. What happened here? We can actually compose or get the support of ChatGPT to compose a good summary of that timeline. That's more human consumable than a lot of the structured data we have.
Great, and Dave says that's interesting. So maybe we could talk a lot more about that. And Alejandro Nayan says, is there any other way that we can use ChatGPT for OCR directly with machine learning capability?
Well, there are many different use cases around ChatGPT plus OCR and machine learning. Most of them are in discovery phase, and I think that we have to wait a little bit to experiment or to decide how to implement this in a production stage. But the main use case, as Tobias has mentioned before, is around human-in-the-loop capabilities and error handling. So we are able to detect issues, to triage issues, to ensure that we are saving time and we are ensuring that our automations run successfully.
Great, thank you, and thank you, Nayan. And Dave says that to your answer before, Tobias, that he might borrow this idea. I think you're welcome. And then Balram says, we have a lot of questions and comments, so I hope you're ready to stay long, because Balram says, as per my understanding, we can utilize the C2 API through other RPA bots, or does C2 have its own RPA tool to utilize?
Yeah, so we do not have our own RPA tool. If you're thinking about the automation part of it, but we have what we call adapters that utilize or connect to the different RPA environments down there. If that's a Blue Prism, you have Path Automation Anywhere or Power Automate environment. Most of our APIs that we expose externally is to fetch information from your environment. That could be related to sessions, business processes, RPA processes, or for those who use queues, it could be queuing information. So it's not only for the bots to use, it's actually also to extract information from the RPA environment, which you natively can do, at least in many of these tools before.
Great, thank you for the answer. Balram Singh, was that answer enough? And then Nicholas says, would you be confident in GPT taking over the manual work of reviewing the text if it meets the terms of service, considering that we provide GPT with terms of service as a prerequisite?
So in most cases now, even with the latest version of ChatGPT, I would still like to have a human involved in the approval before sending anything out, especially if you're working with processes or business processes that will expose information to external users, such as clients, customers, and so on. If it's a internal process, something you have automated for sharing information between departments, let's say, yes, potentially I could, but I would put a finger on holding a human involved at this point.
Great, thank you for the answer. And so if we move to maybe a broader talk, what things should we take out of RPA in terms of UI automation and bring it to the API automation? Do you have any good ideas if I'm not that good in finding them?
I would say there is a lot.
Yeah.
As Alejandro mentioned, and trying to summarize that very quick, is it's easier to work with structured than unstructured data. So the more you can move out, the easier. And that's also something we really see getting empowered in the Power Automate platform, where you can actually have cloud automations where only a part of the process is actually executed in the desktop environment. So getting more, if you're only interacting with APIs, you can more or less scale it forever. And if you're limited to desktop interactions, that's going to be a way more costly process. In terms of what provides the most value, I would say try to look at those what we call loaded processes. The second your automation starts, and it very often checks, is there any work for me to do? Is that something you can extract to any API or cloud solution? Because then we make sure that we actually have the RPA bots only to work if there is actually work to do. And that's one of the key areas we actually try to tackle as a platform.
Great, thank you for the answer. Is there ever a case for automating the UI of ChatGPT? That means that the web browser interface. Anders from Denmark asks about that. Alejandro?
No, I think that the open APIs already offer a set of capabilities that can be used and can, of course, provide much more value than automating the user interface.
Oh, great. Thank you. So we should never automate the UI of ChatGPT. We should just use it as a little assistant and helper here. So maybe we can talk a little bit more about the human in the loop thing, because I think that's very interesting. So we use it whenever we are not sure about the result that certain automation gives us, not only ChatGPT, but in general. Is it always around interpreting text, or can we use this human in the loop in any other cases? Maybe if I send a vacation request to my boss, should there be a human in the loop there before he approves that? Or when could we use this human in the loop approach?
Exactly. There are many different approaches here. So, for example, one typical approach is that a business user is requesting COE to trigger a bot. So in this case, the COE or the support team member has to read the email or read the request, process it, maybe track it via a support ticket, and then trigger the bot. What if we already provide the access to the specific business user that wants to trigger the bot? So that could be one of the first approaches for human in the loop. So they can already access the bot whenever they want, and they can trigger it accordingly. But on the other hand, once the bot has started, you may need to manage something during the execution. So the bot should be able to go back to you whenever it needs to get an approval or request some information. So that could be a different approach. And in that case, that information could be as much complete as possible using Chat GPT, getting all the context, comparing it with what we have already stored within the database. And in this way, ensuring that the business user is going to have all the information beforehand to make the best possible decision.
Great, thank you, Alejandro. Do you have something to add, Tobias?
No, I think that was great. In general, it's all your automations where you want to involve a human in some way, or you want the human to hand off some information to a bot. So all types of human interaction, you will have human in the loop as a candidate. We actually had some self-promoting. We actually had a webinar with two of our customers, Yara International and Noble Corp. 1 month ago. You will find that on our YouTube channel as well, specifically around human in the loop and APIs, and where I think it was 2-3 use cases that was mentioned.
And where do we find that?
The C2 YouTube channel.
I'll find it while you answer the next question, and I'll link to it here in the chat. We have
Awesome.
because we have a question from Louis. Louis says, have you any use cases for GPT acting as self-serve automation tool alongside a traditional RPA tool? And what does that mean? What is a self-serve automation tool, Alejandro?
Well, I guess that in this case, he's referring to kind of supporting member that is able to retrieve all the information he needs to take decisions. So as Tobias has mentioned before, at the moment we see GPT as a complementary tool to a human. So we don't believe at the moment that we can create kind of a supporting member fully built using the Chat GPT. I don't know if that is responding to your question, Louis. Feel free to come back.
Yeah, please let us know if that answered it, Louis. And I have the link here in the chat. I'll post it in 2 seconds for that human in the loop video Tobias talked about. Is it Tobias or Tobias? Because here in Denmark it's Tobias.
I use both.
Okay.
Tobias normally, but here is Tobias.
Yeah, of course, in a more international setting. That's also, I'm Anders here in Denmark, and I'm Anders here in the broader world. So that's it with the local names. Oh, thanks a lot. So when, as a company, do I figure out if I should just go with my normal RPA setup and when to use the C2? Is there a certain size that I need to meet before using the C2 platform?
No, I would say I would recommend C2. Trying to be an external party here, I'm not, but I would recommend any customer, independent of the size, to use a platform such as C2. It's about centralizing all the information you have, and not to say the automation, which allows you to scale easier. One of the core capabilities of the C2 platform is our SLA orchestration engine, which optimizes your kind of put the whole orchestration piece on autopilot, give us the business requirements, and we will schedule everything for you. So even if you only have 1 or 2 bots, if you're looking to scale, as early as possible.
And when you say, sorry,
Tobias,
just go ahead.
If you have 1 bot which you utilize 10%, and that's where you want to be, it depends on the technology and platform you're using. If that's Blue Prism, one use case could be as simple as us making sure that the automations always run. If the automations terminate, we will make sure they're recovered, they restarted, potentially allocated to a new VM. And also the web user interface, as that's something Blue Prism doesn't have today.
As well,
So-
C2 has, sorry, Anders.
No, Alejandro, go ahead.
Some capabilities. C2 has some capabilities to identify whenever a session is terminating too much, and it's able to ban a specific execution for that termination, sending notification to the support team and stopping the process to be executed for, let's say, 60 minutes. So we are allowing the support team to act whenever they have to act without having to stop the processes. C2 is able as well to reboot VMs. So there are a lot of self-healing capabilities that are as well in place.
And if I may, I see Dave mentioned that he is using the C2 SLA orchestration, and it's quite strong. And that probably allows him to be here instead of not in the control room.
Yeah. He said that he can ignore production because C2 got it under control and they use Blue Prism. So yeah, definitely a kudo to C2 here from Dave. And I know Dave uses Blue Prism and probably also Power Automate. So that's maybe he combines those two in the Blue Prism in the C2 setup. So will you say that what's the main use case of C2? I know it can do a lot of things, but what's the main use case? Is that orchestration, or is it handling the APIs, or is it business
I would
intelligence?
say orchestration, because you have so many elements that ties into the orchestration piece. As I said, the self-healing capabilities we have that make sure that you always have your automations running. We will make sure it runs and meets its business requirements. I think that's a very, very important piece of automation.
Nice. And if people want to see it, they can check the video from last week. I'll also find a link from that because we had a demo there and it worked really nice. So thank you, Tobias. So late here in the session, is there something that you want to add, Tobias, Alejandro, that I forgot to mention? Because we talked a lot about mainly around Chat GPT but also around APIs and a little bit about C2. Maybe we should have mentioned that more because that's enabling us to do this work here. But did I forget anything?
Probably it is worth to mention as well our universal queuing system. We have built our own queuing system, which is API based. It is accessible via REST API. So you are able to create work items from any technology, RPA technology or other, that is accessible via API. So this is allowing as well to work from multiple technologies, to trigger bots from multiple technologies, and this is offering a lot of flexibility when defining business cases and business processes.
How technical do you need to be to set all this up, Alejandro?
So this is included in the C2 API. So C2 has a public API composed of more than 50 different actions. So basically C2 has 4 pillars: intelligent orchestration, automated operations, and integration hub and business intelligence. So within the integration hub, we have all these APIs. Everything is included within the same setup. And anyone with development capabilities that understand what is a REST API is able to interact with C2 and see the work queue items and the progress of the work queue items through C2 front-end interface.
Great.
And to add on that very quick is that for all the different tools such as A360, UiPath, and Blue Prism, we also have VBOs interacting with our queuing system. And the same goes for Power Automate, where you have a Power Automate connector to utilize this.
Great. That sounds really, really nice. We also have a question from Nicola, and he says, which RPA tool has the best GPT integration? And if I'm using the C2 platform, that would be easy because then I could just pick that tool. So which one is it, Alejandro?
So from my perspective, I think that UiPath Marketplace is a very good marketplace because it already provides very good integration capabilities. So I could say that UiPath, in this case, through that Automation Anywhere bot store, already has very good integration, and Blue Prism Digital Exchange similarly. Because, well, as we all know, ChatGPT is becoming a very popular topic. So I think that all of the RPA vendors are moving forward to create integrations. But in my opinion, UiPath has the best one.
And what about Power Automate? They own like a large stake in OpenAI. What do you think about those in terms of the GPT?
Well, actually, today I think we have had a good news about, well, not a good news, it's important news. Ex-CEO from OpenAI has joined Microsoft. But I think that they have very good capabilities. Of course, Copilot is a very good tool. Watched the video you have uploaded today, Anders, but Copilot helps it out. And I think it has a very good capabilities from development perspective. So to be honest, it is very difficult to compare all the RPA technologies. It is true that Power Automate has native integration with OpenAI because of the acquisition and the partnership. But in my opinion, UiPath is at least more mature with regard to the desktop automations and the set of scenarios that can be defined. So I would say that you can leverage ChatGPT integrations better with UiPath.
Great, thanks for the answer, and I hope that answered the question. Nicola, do you have anything to add here, Tobias?
No, I think that was very good. The one thing that you will find in the Power Automate Cloud specifically, it's the generation where you can actually use Copilot to help you generate a process from scratch, or what I will call a process template. You still need to define your variables in most cases and so on, but it's a very good way to get started, and especially doing these proof of concept processes. So that's probably one so far unique part there, but UiPath is more mature in general when it comes to desktop integrations and integrations in general.
Great. And then Sempax asks, no demo around C2. I was just about to post the link here, so I will do that. Sempax is in the chat now, so you can find it here. We are about to come to an end of this nice talk. Tobias and Alejandro, the two C2 experts, thanks a lot for joining us here.
Thank you so much for inviting Anders. It was a great discussion and a good topic.
I know that we focused a lot on GPT, but that's the talk of the town at the moment. I think all the RPA developers and professionals, businesses that I talk to, they all want to know about this fantastic tool. So naturally, we included a lot of it here in the talk. And yeah, so is there anything you want to add here in the end? Otherwise, I think we will call it a session.
No, thank you so much.
Thank you, Alejandro, for all the great answers as well. And thanks to all the viewers out there for the great comments. Remember, you can always come back to this link. So if you want to watch it tomorrow, or if Alejandro or Tobias spoke too fast, you can just come back to this link here and rewatch the parts that you missed. Or if you didn't watch the first. Balram says, thank you, Anders, and C2 teams. Thanks for being with us again, Balram Singh. Very nice with the questions and comments. With that said, have a great day, everyone, and see you, C2.
Thank you.
See ya. Thank you.